What is it about vintage synthesizers that captures our imagination? Is it nostalgia or something tangible in the sound? The Oberheim OB-X8 has the answer. But this isn't just one classic synth reborn. It's the DNA of three legends in one box. This isn't a simple marketing claim. It contains the literal factory presets from the OB-X, OB-X8, and OB-8. Yes, that means the sound from Van Halen's Jump is right here, loaded directly from the original source code. So, how did they do it? We'll dissect its architecture, reveal the secret to its perfect imperfection, and show how it builds something new. The first step to authenticity? No compromises. The OB-X8 has a 100% all-analog signal path from start to finish. A huge part of the Oberheim sound is its filter, but the classics didn't all use the same one. The OB-X8 gives you all of them. You can select the classic Curtis CEM3320 4-pole filter from the OB-X8 and OB-8, known for its smooth, refined character. Or you can switch to the discrete 2-pole filter from the OB-X for a raw, aggressive sound. They even added SEM filter modes. This obsession with detail extends to the oscillators, which were modeled to recreate the specific spectra of the originals. But perfectly recreating components is not the full story. The real soul of vintage synths is in their flaws. What if you could control them? This is the vintage knob. It's not a simple detune. It intelligently introduces the subtle instabilities that gave the originals their breath. As you turn it up, the 8 analog voices begin to drift. Tuning loosens, filter cutoffs vary, and envelopes soften slightly. This controlled chaos is the secret. It is why the sound feels so massive and alive. It's the difference between a static image and a living thing. This effect comes from recreating the natural variation and subtle jitter between individual oscillators within each voice. This produces a pleasant 3D phasing effect, making the sound feel like it's wrapping around you, right at the edge of the speaker. So we have the right components and the controlled chaos. How does this translate to the sounds we know? The proof is in the presets. This synth comes loaded with the original factory sounds. We're dialing up patch A1 on the OB-X8 bank. Sound familiar? But it's not one iconic sound, it's hundreds. The classic pads from the OB-8, the raw, cutting leads of the OB-X. No wonder reviewers use the same words as they did for the originals. Huge, thick, and insanely warm. Recreating these patches is only possible because the team modeled the specific envelope behaviors of each separate machine. This shows the design philosophy. It was not enough to copy the schematics. They had to capture the character of component interactions. But the OB-X8 is not a museum piece. It uses modern technology to push this vintage sound into entirely new territory. Case in point, it is bitimbral. This means you can split or layer 2 different patches, like having 2 vintage Oberheims at once. Playability is also updated with a premium FATAR keyboard, sensitive to velocity and aftertouch for greater expressive control. And then there is binaural mode. This splits the synth into 2 independent 4-voice synths, hard-panned left and right. The result is an incredibly wide and 3-dimensional stereo image, taking that classic huge sound and making it even bigger. All of this raises a fascinating question. With these new capabilities, is the OB-X8 actually more Oberheim than the originals? Think back to the distinct filter types and specific envelopes we mentioned. The OB-X8's true genius is letting you mix and match them. You can create a patch using the raw OB-X filter, but with the gentle envelopes of an OB-8. These combinations were impossible until now. So is it more Oberheim? Yes. It doesn't just recreate the classics, it materializes their collective hidden potential. The OB-X8's success rests on 3 pillars: a fanatical recreation of analog parts, control over vintage imperfection, and smart modern additions. It proves that recreating a vintage sound isn't about being a clone. It's about being an authoritative renewal of the original soul. For musicians and producers who have chased that iconic sound, the OB-X8 is the destination. The sound you've always heard in your head. The OB-X8 doesn't just bring back a sound, it brings back a feeling. It proves the soul of analog is reborn. What sound would you make first?